Welcome to our deep dive today. We're going to be talking about the goddess Tiea.
Sounds fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're working with excerpts from a document just titled Tiea, Goddess of Mischief .pdf.
Okay. Straightforward.
Yeah, pretty straightforward. But I have a feeling things might be a little more complex than that.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, the document hints at a lot of influence from this deity,
Yeah.
even though she's considered like a minor goddess.
Exactly. It makes you wonder what she's really capable of.
Mm-hmm.
So so who is Tiea? You
Right.
know, what makes her so unique?
Sure.
The document describes her as a minor deity in the human pantheon known as the goddess of mischief, trickery, and fate.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's already a lot.
Right away, she's not your typical benevolent goddess.
Right.
And what's interesting is how those domains like cities, fate, luck, and trickery, they all seem to connect
Yeah.
and give her kind of leverage in ways that you wouldn't anticipate.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, think about it. Cities.
Yeah.
It gives her a front row seat to the everyday lives of so many people,
Right.
and influencing those little moments of chance and those twists of fate.
It's true. It's like, how much of that is her?
Yeah.
And we have no idea.
Right. I mean, talk about a cosmic game of chess, like using the city as her board and all the people as...
Yeah, and she's a mischievous goddess.
And she's mischievous. Oh, yeah. And the way she's depicted visually adds another layer to her persona, right?
Yeah. What does she look like?
Well, often portrayed as a young teenage girl, often balancing a stiletto dagger.
Interesting.
A juxtaposition of innocence and menace really makes you think.
That stiletto dagger is pretty striking. You don't expect that.
Right. It really does make you think twice.
Yeah.
And the document points out another fascinating detail. Her following is surprisingly small, but almost entirely female. 95% to be exact.
Wow. Okay. So what is it about her that really resonates so strongly with women?
Well, that's a great question. And, maybe it's this appeal of embracing chaos as a means of challenging societal norms,
Yeah.
I mean, after all, she's all about disrupting the established order.
Yeah, she hates predictability.
She hates predictability. She hates governance.
Yeah.
Maybe for some women, it's about finding power in the unexpected,
Right.
in upending those structures that try to define and limit them.
It's a good point. I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a compelling idea, especially when you consider her moral code. She loves to shake things up, revels in the chaos,
Yeah.
hates predictability, hates governance, and makes you wonder what role her followers play in enacting her will, on the world. And that brings us to the Tian Church and how it all began.
Okay.
This is where we really move from the realm of just mythology and into the real world impact. According to the document, the Tian Church, as we know it today, was resurrected in the city of Odresi by a couple, Canizar and Hilda Tormos.
Okay.
Now, these two were Sardellan nobles
Okay.
and embroiled in some serious family drama, feuds, betrayals.
Oh, wow.
The whole nine yards.
So already there's some chaos going on in their lives.
Already, yeah. It's within this cauldron of conflict that Canizar has his quote-unquote divine revelation.
Oh, wow. So he was surrounded by enemies and
Oh, yeah. He's facing death. The document states that, yeah, he's surrounded by enemies facing death, and he claims to have been contacted by Tiea herself.
Interesting.
And what's even more interesting is that he incorporates the six fates
Okay.
into Tian doctrine.
What are the six fates?
Well, they're these demonic figures from folklore.
Oh, okay.
And this was a pretty bold move, considering they weren't really part of, accepted religious canon.
Right. So he's taking some liberties with the existing doctrine.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And we have to remember that during this time, Servati, or female magic users, held significantly less power within the church.
Okay.
And Canizar's wife, Hilda, being a Servati herself,
Right.
likely influenced his choice to focus on figures that were often seen as chaotic and destructive, almost, a reflection of the turmoil they were experiencing.
Oh, that's a good point.
Right.
Yeah. Like he's using the religion to justify maybe their actions or the situation they're in.
Right. It does seem like he was crafting a narrative
Yeah.
that served his own needs, especially when you consider that he cleverly uses pre-existing Tiean lore
Okay.
from the Ormotian books of law to legitimize his new interpretation of the religion.
So he's got like a basis, but he's kind of twisting it.
Yeah, yeah, almost as if he was masking his true intentions beneath a veneer of religious authority.
Sneaky. I see.
Right. And the document even hints at a possible connection to the cult of the withered blade.
Cult of the Withered Blade. Okay.
Yeah.
What is that?
Well, it's an assassin's guild.
An Assassin's Guild.
Oh, okay. And some scholars believe they may have even helped Canizar eliminate his rivals.
So this is getting pretty dark now.
Yeah, adding another layer of intrigue and darkness to the whole story.
Yeah, we got some family drama, maybe some assassinations.
Yeah, hate.
Some changing of religious doctrine to fit his own personal...
It's a pretty heady mix.
Yeah, heady mix.
So the Tian Church is born from this fascinating blend of personal ambition and religious fervor and a healthy dose of chaos, you know?
Right, right.
But things don't exactly settle down once the church is established, do they?
I mean, that'd be kind of against your nature, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
If it was all peaceful and calm.
Yeah, no.
So-
The document makes it clear that the Tian Church was just rife with these internal power struggles.
Okay.
Remember, Tiea is the goddess of disrupting order,
Yeah.
and that seems to have permeated, the structure of her own church. It's as if the chaos they preach is mirrored in their own internal power dynamics.
Right.
So how did it actually play out, within the church?
Well, the document highlights that this tension kind of boiled over in the 14th century.
Okay.
And Iorethescora, a powerful Servati, orchestrated a coup
Oh, wow.
and established a matriarchy within the Tian Church.
So they're all women now.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is a defining moment for the church, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. But it wasn't just a simple transfer of power, was it?
Right.
I mean, Irat establishes this system called the Tian Crash,
The Tian Crash. Okay.
where young girls with magical potential are groomed for leadership roles within the church.
So this is where they're trained up.
It's almost like a training ground
Yeah.
for future cleric magisters, a way of ensuring the continuity of, female leadership within the church.
Right. So they took power, but they also set up a system to make sure that it would
Right.
stay that way.
And what's even more intriguing is that she does this during a period when the church renewed its ties with the cult of the withered blade.
Okay.
It makes you think about the methods they might have employed to consolidate their power and eliminate any opposition.
So some strong-arm tactics, perhaps.
Perhaps, yeah. That alliance certainly raises some eyebrows
Yeah.
and suggests that the Tian Church wasn't afraid to play dirty
Yeah.
to get what it wanted. So we've got, this newly empowered female leadership, shadowy assassins lurking in the background,
Right.
and a doctrine that embraces chaos as a divine principle.
Sounds like a recipe for,
I mean, it feels like the stage is set for some truly unpredictable events.
yeah.
Right.
And those events are often shaped by the six fates.
Right.
Remember
Yeah.
those demonic entities that
Yeah.
canons are brought into the fold?
Yeah.
Each one embodies a different aspect of chaos, representing everything from destruction and murder to ironic twists of fate and the suppression of knowledge.
It's a pretty wild mix.
It is.
And it makes you wonder how they choose which aspect of chaos to focus on, at any given time.
Yeah.
The document mentions this ritual called the Rite of Focus.
The rite of focus.
Yeah. It's a fascinating ritual, takes place immediately following the ascension rite
Okay.
of a new cleric magister.
Yeah.
During the Rite of Focus, she randomly selects one of the six fates
Oh, randomly.
to guide the church's actions.
Wow.
It's like rolling a cosmic dice to determine their agenda.
That makes them really difficult to, anticipate.
Oh, absolutely. Imagine trying to anticipate the actions of a group whose goals are constantly shifting
Yeah.
based on random chance.
Right.
Right. It's got to be like, trying to hit a moving target that's also invisible,
It really reinforces that, like, this chaos is intentional, like it's a strategy.
It's not just a byproduct. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not just an accident.
It's a deliberate strategy.
Yeah.
Right. A tool for achieving their goals.
Yeah.
Whatever those goals may be
Yeah.
at any given moment.
So you could have one cleric magister who might prioritize sowing discord and undermining authority, while the next might focus on, orchestrating assassinations
Right.
or suppressing scientific advancements.
Yeah.
So it's kind of up in the air and it's a little unsettling.
Unsettling. Yeah.
Yeah.
The possibilities seem endless.
Yeah.
And this brings us to the concept of Katora, a core Tian belief in dark irony as a divine manifestation of Taia's presence in the world.
dark irony.
It's almost as if they see these, seemingly random, unfortunate events, those moments where things go wrong, as orchestrated by Tiea herself.
Okay, so it's like a cosmic joke.
Almost like a, cosmic joke.
Yeah.
And the document actually describes how Tian cultists, they actively try to create situations that embody Keturah. They do.
Sure.
They believe that they are impressing Tiea with their ability to orchestrate these elaborate, ironic scenarios.
So they're trying to like one-up each other
It's like
and create the most ironic situation.
It's like a cosmic prank show, and they're the mischievous directors.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
That's a great way to put it.
Right. I mean, it adds another layer to their methods, right?
Right.
It's not just about causing chaos. It's about doing it in a way that's theatrical.
Oh, yeah.
That highlights the absurdity of trying to maintain order in a world governed by, by Tiea's whims.
It makes you wonder about all those seemingly coincidental mishaps we hear about.
Right.
Could they be the work of Tian cultists trying to manifest this?
Diligently trying to manifest Keturah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a pretty interesting thought.
Yeah, a little scary, too.
A little scary. But before we spiral down that rabbit hole,
Right.
let's talk about those cursed charms that were mentioned in the document.
Okay, cursed charms.
There's 6 of them, each linked to one of the 6 fates, and capable of inflicting these very specific misfortunes on those who wear them.
Like what kind of misfortunes?
Well, we'll get into that, but it's almost like having bad luck on a leash.
Okay.
And what's really fascinating about them is that they operate on a cycle.
A cycle.
Yeah. They strike every 6 days.
Oh, okay. So you're just waiting for it.
Imagine the dread of knowing that every 6th day something terrible is going to happen to you.
Yeah.
All because you decided to, wear a fancy bracelet.
You don't know what it'll be, but something bad's coming.
Something bad's coming. And the document describes some truly horrific effects.
Okay.
Everything from, loss of prized possessions to the death of loved ones.
Oh, that escalated quickly.
I mean, it's not just bad luck. It's targeted misfortune.
Yeah, and specifically designed to cause disruption and suffering.
Absolutely. And what's even more disturbing is this legend that possessing all 6 charms grants the wearer the ability to inflict any of the curses on others.
So then you've got like an arsenal of bad luck at your disposal.
Right. I mean, that's a terrifying amount of power to be concentrated in a handful of, tiny trinkets.
It makes you wonder how these charms came to be and why the Tian Church allows them to just be out there.
Right.
Like circulating freely in the world.
Yeah.
You'd think they would want to control them a little more.
Right.
Yeah.
Perhaps they see it as a way of, amplifying the influence of the 6 fates.
Okay.
Letting them run wild and create chaos on a larger scale.
So weaponizing misfortune itself.
Yeah, almost like they've, weaponized misfortune.
Yeah.
It's both ingenious and terrifyingly effective.
It is. And what's even more intriguing is that the charms are masked by a permanent enchantment of misdirection.
Oh, wow.
So their true nature is hidden unless you have the ability to see through illusions.
So unless you can spot the magical camouflage, you might just think you're wearing, a harmless trinket.
Right.
Completely unaware of the curse that's about to unfold.
Yeah, it makes them all the more insidious.
Absolutely. Welcome back. We were just discussing those cursed charms, which really highlight the unsettling side of Tiea's influence. The document makes it clear that the Tian Church itself doesn't actually possess these artifacts. They've allowed them to circulate out in the world, almost like independent agents of chaos.
It's true.
It's a fascinating strategy, wouldn't you say?
It's definitely an effective way to, spread their influence.
Yeah.
By releasing the charms into the world, they're essentially planting these seeds of chaos and letting them take root, flourish in all these unexpected places.
Yeah.
It's almost a hands-off approach to disrupting the established order.
But it is, a little unsettling to think about those objects of misfortune circulating out there, potentially affecting the lives of, unsuspecting people. It adds a whole new layer of uncertainty to the world, don't you think?
Definitely, yeah. And it raises some thought-provoking questions about, like, free will versus destiny. If you stumble upon one of these charms, is your fate sealed? Or can you resist its influence? And the document doesn't really provide any easy answers.
No. It does mention that the charms are masked by a permanent enchantment of misdirection.
Oh,
So their true nature is hidden unless you have that ability to see through illusions.
right.
It's almost as if they're, designed to operate in secret, influencing events without drawing attention to themselves.
Right. It's their powers and their subtlety.
Yeah.
And even if you do manage to identify a charm, removing the curse isn't as simple as it might seem.
Right.
The document suggests that, even a remove curse spell only provides temporary relief.
Oh.
The curse will inevitably resurface, on that 6th day of the cycle.
It makes you wonder if there's any way to truly break free from their influence. Or maybe that's the point. Perhaps it's all part of Tia's grand design to ensure chaos continues to, permeate the world no matter what.
It's a chilling possibility.
Yeah.
The charms are a potent reminder that there are forces at play in the world that we may not fully understand.
Right.
Forces that can disrupt our lives in unexpected and often unwelcome ways.
But let's shift gears for a moment and talk more about the Tian Church itself.
Okay.
We've touched upon their embrace of chaos and their rather ruthless methods.
Right.
But I'm curious about the inner workings of the church. Remember we mentioned that it's a matriarchy established after that coup led by Irithaskora. But even with, female leadership in place, it doesn't sound like the church is a particularly stable or harmonious organization.
Well, you're absolutely right. The document emphasizes, the intense factional rivalry
Yeah.
within the Tian religion. And when you combine that with their rather unusual doctrine of adopting like a random theological direction,
Right.
every time a new cleric magister takes power, well, you've got a recipe for constant instability.
So they embrace chaos, not just in their beliefs, but also in their organizational structure.
Yeah.
It's fascinating. But how does anything actually get done in an environment like that? Who's calling the shots, and how do they maintain any semblance of control?
Well, the cleric magister is still the nominal leader, but her power is constantly being challenged by various factions within the church.
Mm-hmm.
These factions are often led by the matrons,
Okay.
those older, more experienced women who play a crucial role in training. The young Sirvati and the creche.
So the matrons are more than just teachers then. They're shaping the next generation of leaders and wielding a significant amount of power behind the scenes.
That's right.
It sounds like a delicate balancing act, navigating the treacherous waters of TA and politics.
Well, oh, it certainly is. A matron who aligns herself with the wrong Sirvati
Yeah.
or pushes too aggressively for her own agenda, risks being ousted in a power struggle.
Yeah.
It is a high-stakes game,
Yeah.
and the players are not afraid to use any means necessary to come out on top.
And we can't forget about those young Servati themselves.
Right.
They're not just passive participants in this pairing struggle.
Right.
They're ambitious, magically gifted individuals, who are being groomed for leadership roles from a very young age.
Right.
I imagine the competition among them is fierce.
Oh, absolutely. The Tian creche is essentially a training ground for future cleric magisters.
Mhm.
And only the strongest and the most cunning will survive the process.
Yeah.
It's a crucible where ambition and magical talent are forged into something even more potent, the ability to wield chaos itself.
And to add another layer of intrigue, they're incredibly selective about who they allow into their ranks.
Right.
New members are typically brought in through direct invitation from existing cultists.
Yeah.
It's a very controlled process designed to, ensure secrecy and maintain their power structure. It's like a secret society operating in the shadows.
It is. It's fascinating how they managed to, reconcile this outward appearance of chaos and unpredictability with such a highly organized and disciplined internal structure.
Which makes me wonder, how do they manage to fund all of this? Running a secret society dedicated to chaos can't be cheap.
That's a good question. That's where their unique relationship with thieves guilds comes in.
Right.
Remember, Tiea is also known as the goddess of thieves, and she still receives offerings from those who ply their trade in the underworld.
Right. The document mentioned that thieves will often leave offerings to Tiea before embarking on a heist or a burglary.
Yeah.
As a way of invoking her favor and ensuring a successful outcome.
So it sounds like a superstition with some very real benefits for the Tian church.
Right.
Those offerings add up over time. It provides a steady stream of income for their various operations.
But it seems like a logistical nightmare. How do they collect those offerings from thieves' guilds scattered all across Eldoria?
That's where their alliance with the Cult of the Withered Blade comes in handy again.
Right.
Remember, those assassins have connections throughout the underworld.
Yeah.
They act as intermediaries,
Okay.
collecting the offerings and delivering them to the Tian Church in Odresi.
It's mutually beneficial.
It is.
The thieves get the perceived protection of Tiea,
Right.
the assassins get a cut of the profits, and the Tian Church gets the funding they need.
Exactly. Everybody wins. Well, except maybe the people that are being robbed.
Right.
But.
It's amazing how a seemingly chaotic organization can, leverage its network of connections and
Yeah.
alliances to achieve its goals, even if those goals involve disrupting, the very fabric of society.
Right. It makes you realize that the Tian Church isn't like a monolithic entity.
Mm-hmm.
It's a complex web of alliances and rivalries and hidden agendas,
Right.
all operating under the banner of chaos.
And it makes you wonder what other arrangements they might have in place, right?
Yeah.
And if they can work with thieves, guilds, and assassins, who else might they be collaborating with? I mean, the possibilities are both intriguing and a little bit terrifying,
They are.
aren't they?
But before we delve too far into those possibilities, let's take a moment to reflect on what we've learned so far.
Okay.
We've explored the origins of the Tian Church, the role of the Six Fates, those enigmatic cursed charms, and the intricate power dynamics within their ranks.
We've covered a lot of ground, but we're not finished yet. When we return, we'll explore some of the specific rituals and ceremonies practiced by the Tian Church and delve even deeper into the concept of Keturah. So stay tuned.
Welcome back to our deep dive into the world of Pua. It's fascinating to think about how a group that really thrives on chaos can be so organized at the same time. We've been uncovering those intricate workings of the Tian Church, their alliance with the Cult of the Withered Blade, their kind of unconventional approach to leadership, and those cursed charms they've let loose upon the world. But let's shift gears now and explore some of the specific rituals and ceremonies that really bring their beliefs to life.
The Tian rituals are really a reflection of their core philosophy, embracing chaos, disrupting order, and celebrating those ironic twists of fate they call Keturah.
Yeah.
They're a tangible expression of their devotion to Tiea and her rather mischievous nature.
And one ritual that really captures that essence is the accession rite.
Which we briefly touched upon earlier. It marks the transition of power from one cleric magister to the next. But as we've learned, it's far from a peaceful or democratic process.
No. The document describes it as a time of great upheaval and potential for violence.
Yeah.
The selection of a new cleric magister often involves this fierce competition between the matrons and those young Siravati who are vying for power.
Right.
It's a high-stakes game with no guarantee of a happy ending for everyone involved.
It's hard to imagine how they reconcile such a chaotic power struggle with the need for continuity within the church. But maybe that's the point,
Yeah.
Perhaps the very act of embracing that chaos is what ultimately strengthens their bonds.
It's an intriguing paradox, isn't it?
It is.
And the session rite itself is full of symbolism, lasting for 2 hours, and formally recognizing the new cleric magister as the embodiment of Tiea in the mortal world. It's a powerful statement that really reinforces her authority and sets the stage for her reign.
Yeah, it's like they're saying, yes, we embrace chaos, but we also recognize the need for leadership.
Right.
For someone to guide us through the storm.
Someone to point us in the right direction, even if that direction is random.
Right. And immediately following this rather dramatic changing of the guard, we have the rite of focus.
Right.
This is where the new cleric magister randomly selects one of the six fates to guide the church's actions, adding another layer of unpredictability to their agenda.
Exactly. A brilliant way to keep everyone guessing, both within the church and outside of it. No one knows which aspect of chaos will be prioritized, so it makes it incredibly difficult to anticipate their next move.
It's almost as if they're leaving their fate and the fate of everyone around them up to chance. But perhaps they see that as the ultimate expression of their devotion to Tiea, relinquishing control and allowing chaos to run its course.
It certainly aligns with their belief in Keturah, that divine irony that underpins so much of their worldview. They see those seemingly random, unfortunate events.
Yeah.
Those moments where things go hilariously wrong as orchestrated by Tiea herself.
Yeah. The document offers some captivating examples.
Oh, yeah. Like what?
Like, the renowned knight famed for his horsemanship being killed by a loose horseshoe flung from his own squire's mount.
Wow.
Or a celebrated orator losing his voice right before delivering a crucial speech.
Oh, that's brutal.
It's like they see the universe as a stage for these darkly comedic scenarios.
That's kind of a funny way to look at it. But I guess if that's your whole belief system, that it makes sense.
And what's even more interesting is they don't just sit back and wait for Katura to manifest.
Right.
They actively try to create situations that embody this concept, orchestrating elaborate, ironic scenarios as a way of honoring Tiea.
So they're not just passively accepting chaos.
Yeah.
They're actively trying to stir the pot.
We're trying to create it. It's almost as if they're trying to impress her with their ability to create chaos that's both destructive and entertaining.
And it makes you wonder, just how far would they go to achieve that goal?
Yeah.
Would they deliberately sabotage someone's efforts or orchestrate a tragedy just for the sake of manifesting Keturah?
Yeah.
It's a chilling thought, but one that definitely aligns with their belief system.
It certainly makes you question whether seemingly random events in our own lives might be the result of their machinations.
I like that paranoid, isn't it?
It is. It
Yeah.
is. But before we succumb to paranoia,
Yeah.
let's wrap up our deep dive by exploring their views on death and the afterlife.
Okay, sure.
The document mentions that they practice cremation,
Okay,
but it doesn't elaborate on what happens to the ashes.
right. What do they do with the ashes?
Well, that's where things get really interesting. The ashes are eventually scattered at a specific location chosen by the cleric magister.
Okay.
And the Tians believe that the spirit of the deceased will linger at that location, continuing to serve Tiea by causing mischief and furthering the goals of the church.
So even in death, their commitment to chaos persists.
It's almost as if they're transforming those final resting places into these pockets of unpredictable energy,
Yeah.
ensuring that their influence extends beyond the grave.
It's a fitting end for those who dedicated their lives to the goddess of mischief.
Yeah. And it serves as a powerful reminder that for the Tian Church, chaos isn't just a philosophy. It's a way of life. And even death itself doesn't mark the end of their journey. Well, that brings us to the end of our deep dive into the world of Tiea, the goddess of mischief. We've explored her origins, her intriguing domains, the complex workings of her church, and those unsettling ways in which her influence ripples out into the world. It's been a fascinating and, at times, slightly unnerving journey, wouldn't you say?
It has been fascinating. I feel like we've learned so much about this really enigmatic deity and her devoted followers.
Yeah.
Those who strive to bring her chaotic vision to life.
Yeah. And as always, we leave you with some food for thought. If the Tian Church is as skilled at manipulating events and covering their tracks as this document suggests, how much of the chaos we encounter in our own lives might be attributed to their machinations? It's a question worth pondering as we navigate the unpredictable twists and turns of our own destinies. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, and we'll see you next time.